Hello, old friend. It's been just over a week since I got back from the Outback adventure in Kilo Juliet November. It's nice to see the old plane again. Honestly, when you spend that amount of time, it was 2 weeks. It was 14 days of flying in the same aircraft, when every single day you're waking up, getting in the same aircraft, flying somewhere, tying it up, going to bed, getting in the same aircraft. When you're doing that over a long period of time, you get quite close to a machine after a while. Yeah, and the last time I flew was actually the last leg on the Outback Australia series that I put on this channel. Now, if you're new and you haven't seen that before, I'll link to it from above. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Stefan, private pilot. I do a lot of traveling around Australia and around the world as well commercially. I'd love to make travel and aviation vlogs. So if you are new here and this is the first video you've seen and you love your travel and aviation content, click that subscribe button. It's great to grow the community we have here. But what I wanted to do today is I'm just down here at the airport quickly just to check a couple of things on Kilo Juliet November and to answer some of the questions that have been coming up on this channel from viewers like yourself. For example, do I think it was worth changing the propeller from a 4-blade to a 3-blade prop? Well, just as a quick reminder, the reason for changing from the 4-blade to the 3-blade is the 4-blade prop was a composite prop. It was a lot softer. It picks up those stones, they hit the propeller and you can make little nicks in them. The 4-blade would have meant a lot more maintenance after we came back if I was picking up nicks in it, whereas the 3-blade, which is an aluminium propeller, it's a Hartzell aluminium prop, can be kind of ground down and shaved down so you can get rid of some of those nicks and it can be used again for other flights. Just realised that was a really bad explanation. Like, in a nutshell, basically, 4-blade prop, bit softer. If you get nicks in it, you're going to have to replace it or send it away to get looked at. 3-blade prop, much tougher. Let me see if I can show you actually. So since coming back, there are a few that you can see in there, of course, from the stones that were picked up from those gravel dirt strips and the taxiways that I was going across. But basically, it's fared pretty well. There's no big dents in there, and what was there now has been filed down by the engineers after coming back. Now, don't forget the other advantage of the 3 versus the 4, as well as durability, is because there's one less blade flinging itself through the air, there's actually slightly less drag that the aircraft is creating, and therefore you can cruise at a slightly faster airspeed. Now, I only noticed a difference of about 3 or 4 knots between the 4-blade and the 3-blade, but we travelled, it was 8,767 kilometres, 31.5 hours of flying time for the total Outback trip. And when you look at a couple of knots difference for basically what is the same engine and power settings, then over those long distances, it actually makes quite a difference. Still some of that red dust. I reckon it will be there for months. One other question I've been asked is, can I fly Kilo Juliet November? Like, can I, as in, can you fly? I know I can. Well, the answer to that is yes. Kilo Juliet November is available for rental here at Moorabbin through a company called Blue Demon Aviation. I'll link to their website below. Talk to Mark Howe, tell him I said hello. He can help you with Cirrus CSIP training so you can get certified to fly a Cirrus SR20 or SR22. You get signed off by the Cirrus CSIP. And then, yeah, you can hire Kilo Juliet November through Blue Demon just like I do. I wanted to show you as well, just quickly, how I do my audio recordings in the Cirrus, because a few of you were asking how I record the ATC comms, and it has changed a little bit since I originally started doing it here on YouTube. So this is what I do. Now, this is just a digital audio recorder. It's one of those, like a digital dictaphone, basically. I just use this brand. You can use pretty much anyone, I'm sure. This is a Sony PX470. Best thing I think about this digital audio recorder, first of all, outside of the quality benefits that you get, which I'll talk about in a minute, best thing is you can record about 15 hours of audio on this thing before the internal memory gets full, but then you can extend it with additional memory cards as well. So I set this thing next to me and I just basically forget about it. Lavalier, I don't know how you pronounce it, but one of these small kind of lapel microphones, that plugs into this socket here. And then the microphone itself basically sits, what I normally do is pretty gross actually, I just stick it in my ear like that and then put my headset over the top then everything I'm hearing in my headset comes into the microphone as well, and then that subsequently records directly onto the audio recorder here. Now, just one pro tip, set your levels beforehand at home and don't use the auto noise reduction that some of these things have. I did a couple of flights originally when I had that auto noise reduction turned on, and the volume goes up and down, you don't have very much control. If you set the levels on your headset first and foremost to whatever's comfortable for you flying, and then set the levels on the audio recorder to match that so it's not clipping, so the sound's not too loud, you can then basically just forget about it, because as long as the audio in your headset is at a comfortable level, you know that the audio level is going to be right going into the audio recorder. It gets really sweaty at the end of a flight as well. So now I'm going to do a full GoPro setup video, including the wing mounted GoPro, which isn't on at the moment, you can see, but the one that's normally on the wing over there. I'm going to do a full video on how I set that up, on the CASA requirements behind it, how we got approval for it, everything like that. That's coming, don't worry. But just so you know, the way that I record the video inside the cockpit, I have two GoPro Hero Blacks which sit in a suction cup mount, which have one of these little angle brackets. Hopefully you can see all of that clearly on the video. I found that those three primary angles give me what am I doing in the cockpit, what am I seeing as a pilot, and what's happening outside the aircraft. So all I would do each day is put one camera on this side of the window and put another camera on this side and point it facing forwards. So one camera faced forwards and the other one faced in from that angle. Now, the question that you may be asking as well is, well, is he allowed to do that? Can you use suction cup mounts on the inside of an aircraft? Well, you can with the right permission, and we actually got permission from CASA to be able to use these suction cup mounts inside this specific aircraft. So if you're planning to do any filming yourself, the biggest thing that I can say to you is check with your engineering team first, and if you're in any doubt, check with CASA themselves. And I've got to say, they were really, really helpful for us to be able to get the camera set up approved for use in this aircraft. So what else is coming up on the channel? Well, I'm actually going to be talking at the OzFlightSim EXPO on November the 17th, which is a big deal for me because I love the idea of getting out and talking more to aviation and travel enthusiasts out there. And the flight sim community is actually quite a cool one from my point of view because I've got a background in technology and I've got a love for aviation. So I'm getting to talk to a group of people who basically put those two things together. So if you're interested in your flight sims, or even if you've never done flight simming before, but it's something that you're kind of interested in, you want to get a bit of an idea of maybe how to get started, then get down to the OzFlightSim EXPO. It's in Wollongong this year, the Illawarra Regional Airport, on November the 17th and 18th. I'll put a link to their website down below. I'll be doing a bit of a meet and greet after the talk as well. So if you want to get down there and say hello, look, I'd love to meet you. It's all about moving for me. It's not about flying specifically. It's not about travel. It's not about any one thing. It's about moving, not stopping. Let me leave you with this before I go. One of my favorite films recently, if you haven't seen it, you should. It's George Clooney starring in Up in the Air. It's all about a guy who travels across the US for work and frequent flyer status, and it's a cool film. It's a good Sunday afternoon film, but there's a really good quote in there that his character says, and this has really resonated with me. He says,
"This is what we do to ourselves on a daily basis. We weigh ourselves down until we can't even move. And make no mistake, moving is living. The slower we move, the faster we die."
Moving is living. The slower we move, the faster we die. And that's all I'm really trying to do on this channel, is just to hopefully encourage and motivate you to watch these videos, make some adventures of your own, and just don't stop. Just keep moving.